Richard, you have another product for us here, Omega Buds hemp nuts.
That's right.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, hemp is being utilized in many different ways, and you know, people do smoke it, but that's the other type. Okay, but it's many benefits like hemp.
What do you mean by it's the other type?
Well, this is a food grade. Okay, highly nutritious.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, so it's been actually, people used to eat it all the time. It was part of, like, farmers. Every farmer had this little hemp patch in history, but then because of political reasons and there was competition, like hemp fiber was used to even make paper.
That's right.
Sails, and you go back about 100 years ago or in that area.
Was it a replacement for leather and stuff like that too?
Oh yeah, it was amazing if you look up the history and actually why in the United States hemp was actually removed from, in terms of farmers being able to grow it, and up to this day they still don't have it, but it was competition for paper. And the Hearst family empire of newspapers, they had a big major interest in forestry, because again, where's paper mostly made from? It's made from wood, right? So they wanted to get it off. So there were the stories of Mad Reaver. You know, the Mexicans were getting involved with this Mad Reaver product, and they eventually were pushing for licensing, and then eventually they were not producing the license, so the farmers couldn't grow it. So what they were naturally doing, giving it to their animals and for themselves, was no longer there, and it became sort of somewhat forgotten. Well, there's been a reoccurrence back in the last resurgence of this, possibly started around 10 years ago, right? Okay. And so one thing lucky for us in Canada, our farmers have been allowed to grow it, so it's grown on the prairies. And one thing I like about foods is if you eat within what is grown within the region, in the season as well, right? Food is energy. And so, you know, when it resonates well with our bodies,
it's probably good for us.
Exactly, you know, eat the stuff that's in season too. Because the advantage that we have on the one hand is that we can eat all the foods from anywhere in the world, comes in fresh, right? But somewhere there's still this whole thing that we live in
a different climate,
different area. It's the energies that are within you know, all that works really well, right?
Never thought of that. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's like hey, hemp is being traditionally used. It's not new for some people. What is it? You know, it's kind of like we've been so programmed to eat all these unnatural foods, and then we forgot what is natural, right? And people's like, what is it? Well, it is. So, being in the system for a long time, what makes hemp so...
So tell me about the contents of...
Well, we're looking at about roughly 30% protein.
Wow.
Okay, so it's a good source of protein. It's when you look at it, it's a small seed here. So taste them. Tell me what you think of it. You know, tiny seeds. It almost remind you of sesame seeds. Okay, and when you then take some and chew it. And by the way, that's a very good way to consume it.
They're very tasty.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Lots of fiber, lots of protein, and the key of this is that omega. Remember the omega fats? Okay, that's why I kind of labeled it Omega Buds. The balanced omega-3, 6, and 9.
Wow. The
essential fats that we need. Remember, there's essential proteins, essential fats, and essential sugars. And the word essential really means it's essential. We need it. We can't do without it.
Right.
And today, by what we consume, we get too many of the omega-6s. And we're deficient in omega-3s. And so this gives you a very balanced. And when we talked earlier on about the chia, chia is the highest known plant source of omega-3s, right? So we can bring ourselves, everything in life, optimal health is bringing things in balance, right? So that's what we want to achieve, is balance, balance, right?
See, those are really good. More.
Very, very tasty. Now we sell. And so, it is natural, easy to digest. Simply as this, you are what you eat, what you digest, what your body absorbs, and the cells can utilize, right? So the better the digestion is, plant-based materials, the shorter time frame for the body to digest. Animal meats, for example, proteins, 4.5, 5 hours in that time frame, okay? Just like within an hour, hour and a half, your body's digested it, which makes then the absorption better, that makes the utilization of the cells better, right? So more optimal nutrition for the body. And yeah, it's
And
nutty.
and you can probably
portable.
use this to top up salads and things
Oh,
too. Of
wonderful,
course.
yeah. Salads, sprinkle it on. Again, what do we want? We buy a salad. Hey, you can sneak that in your restaurant. Just add it to your salad instead of ordering
That's
chicken
right,
or
yeah.
salmon, right? Paying under $3, $5, $7. Today it's all about economy. Everybody's economy minded, so we can do that. And even if you cook foods, take your bag or whatever, or your jar that you store it in. After you cook it, don't cook it, and just sprinkle it on your cooked foods to add the content.
Right.
So soups and whatever else, a little bit more protein, a little bit more of the omegas, right? Add it to it. And remember,
Now
one of the most key things is fiber, right? So many processed foods are being consumed, they're so low in fiber. This raises the fiber again, right? So natural, tasty, which is important, because we want things that taste good, right? So easy to consume. I always have something like that in my car, and if I go along the day and I just feel like eating something, I supplement myself with a little bit of in my hand, put it in my mouth, have some chia to drink as well, right?
Right.
And it's amazing how easy it is to keep your body highly supplied with nutritional foods, right? Doesn't take a great effort of preparing, and that's what stops an
And
awful
even
lot of
if your
people.
food isn't nutrition, you've just added nutrition
Exactly.
to it by sprinkling some hemp.
And I know that often the theory that I use with people, because
I'm not fighting with you for this.
no, you can have it. It's always in the end. Here's the thing, right? When you tell people not to eat this and all that, why don't we first of all start adding some good nutritional foods?
Right.
It starts actually reducing your craving for the things that are bad that you're so accustomed on a daily basis.
It's
right?
true actually, when you
Yeah.
go on a nutritional diet, you stop craving the junk food, for lack of a better word.
Well, when we really listen to our bodies, what really happens is that, we're getting these hunger pangs, or we're thinking we're hungry. In fact, the cells are screaming for nutrients. And what we're thinking, I'm hungry. No, you're not hungry, because you can really live on a lot less food than you think that you need, right?
Right.
And so you see these people just consuming these buckets of sugars and, fats and chips and
potato
everything
chips
else.
and
I mean,
pop
we live in a
and-
society today where people continuously eating. It's not enough to just have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? It's snack, all the way through, right?
Right.
And of course, supersize me, right? That's what we get, right? And again, so much of the processed foods that we have, remember this, 80% of the processed foods are now genetically modified foods, and that's just a whole other subject.
Right.
But people need to be woken
Aware
up,
of it.
what
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
is. So eat more nutritious food, you can be less dependent on eating processed food. And by the way, it's not expensive to do this. This is far cheaper than eating fast foods. Okay, so if you're looking at economizing, start your journey with some of this, and now you can cut. So
What
Yeah.
does a bag like that cost approximately?
you're looking here in Canada, typical retail, somewhere around $14 to maybe $17 for a pound. And you know what we were saying about survival foods again, right?
There's another one.
There's another one.
Wow.
Okay, in a sealed bag, sealed container. This will be good for about a year, right? The chia for years and years and years. But with hemp, because the shell has been removed, so we just got the inner seed here, right?
Right.
So what's key to storage, of course, oxidation, light, right? So put it maybe in a darker jar, or put it in just in a glass jar, of course, if you want to keep it longer term. Seal it and put it in a darker place.
Right.
Or if you want to keep it refrigerated, you can take some in the package, throw it in a freezer, okay, and then pull it out the freezer. So I have some people that buy like 10, 20 pounds, and they
Right.
have a 6-month supply, a year supply of this, right? And some of it they freeze, and then they'll take it out the freezer, put it in the fridge.
And
So of course
and use it
refrigeration
as
temperature
needed. Yeah.
keeps the degeneration of the food down,
Right.
right? So, but as a survival food, truly everyone should have a bag of this as well. Okay, you have a bag of chia, you have a bag of the hemp nuts, and you're now going to be supplying yourself with enough food that, okay, there's a disaster, but you don't have to starve, right? Or, anything else can happen. You find yourself in a predicament. Maybe you're traveling, again, backpacking or anywhere out in the woods, camping, whatever you're doing. You don't have to haul these coolers and all these things, thinking that's what often
Right.
people do. They bring half a truckload full of food for a weekend of fun out in the woods, right? Hey, become less dependent. Have more fun, less food.
Less food and more nutrition
More
and
nutrition.
a healthier life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.